Casey Jones is the brave widow of Clyde Jones, a municipal employee who died in an explosion at the Bethune wastewater treatment plant in Daytona Beach, Florida in 2006. She is a certified surgical technologist and is a graduate of Daytona Beach Community College.
Good morning. My name is Casey Jones, and I am from Daytona Beach, Florida. I would like to thank the chairman and members of the subcommittee for inviting me to testify today. I have a larger statement that I would like to have placed in the record.
Without objection.
On January 11, 2006, my husband and best friend Clyde Jones was taken from me and the children, family, friends, and community who loved him. He was only 40 years old. He went to work one morning for the city that he loved and to a job that he loved. He never came home. He was instructed by the city of Daytona Beach to repair buildings damaged by the hurricanes of 2004. The roof, which was to be removed, was directly over tanks holding highly flammable and dangerous gases which escaped through venting pipes at the wastewater treatment plant where he worked. Clyde was not a roofer. He worked in general maintenance. He had no knowledge of dangers associated with these tanks that he had worked around for the last 7 years because there had never been any safety meetings for him or other workers. He did not know of the dangerous gases which were escaping. He was never advised such a situation existed, nor were there any warning signs or precautions given to him. He was instructed to go with the other workers and use lighted torches to begin cutting away the torn metal to start the repair process. My husband was in the crane that was used to lift the metal pieces that were cut away. As the lighted torch cut through the metal, the gases coming from the vent exploded into a horrible fireball. The tanks and pipes broke, and hot flammable gases were directed into the cab where my husband was severely burned. He was transported to the hospital where I work. The doctors who knew him cried uncontrollably because the empathy of unbearable pain they knew he was in. Clyde was burned over 90% of his body with third-degree burns. He was stabilized at the hospital and then airlifted to Orlando Regional Medical Center, 60 miles away to the burn unit. Clyde suffered through a horrible cleaning process that finally showed the severity of his burns. When Clyde was brought into his room and I had the opportunity to see him once again, I was devastated. I spent several hours with him in comfort and promised that I would be strong for him and would be there for him through his recovery. I received a call the next morning from the doctor informing me that Clyde had no chance of recovery and they were keeping him on life support until the family could say their goodbyes. The city has shown no mercy. There were no safety meetings in advance. There were no review or written plan as how to safely proceed that day. The city of Daytona Beach, like so many other governmental agencies, did not have to abide by OSHA standards. Thus, not having to comply, no one cared enough to voluntarily comply. Daytona Beach did not even have a safety officer on payroll at the time. No one required them to do so. They cut the budget for that position when the law did not make such a position mandatory. The government that my husband loved and served did nothing, absolutely nothing, to provide him with a safe workplace. They simply ignored the responsibility for his safety because they did not have to provide a safe work environment as a city government. My husband's life was not the only one taken that day. Another co-worker died, and another still suffers with terrible burn injuries. The state that he also loved ignored our cry for help. A bill was presented to the State House of Representatives in Florida, which would have required local governments to meet minimum OSHA safety requirements. The bill never made it to the floor. The Chemical Safety Board, responsible for investigating this tragedy, found numerous basic safety issues which were ignored due to the lack of any requirement that the city adhere to such standards. It concluded that had any of these basic safety standards been in place, my husband would be alive today. You cannot help my husband or others that suffered, but you can help to save lives and the devastation caused by horrific injuries to the future victims and future families. I am only here for that purpose. I am here hoping that my husband's life was not taken in vain. If you would know the person that Clyde was, you would realize we cannot afford to lose another woman or man like him. He is the backbone of what makes this country work. Clyde served in the U.S. Army in the Gulf War. At 6 feet and 270 pounds, he was a very big man. He worked hard every day. As big as what he was, his heart was even larger. His heart would break even more if he knew that He died senselessly, with no one wanting to prevent something like this from happening again. My heart breaks as I speak. I know that he did not have to die. My heart breaks for his children. They will never understand why he died. My heart breaks for those that lost families, friends, and similar situations, all needlessly, also senselessly. I am now sitting in front of my leaders of my country. I never dreamed I'd sit here at such a place. Only you can help make sure this doesn't happen to others. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.